Alright, so we have a warm-up. First, let's get into it. We're going to jump into a bear crawl. So what we're looking to do is to get knees under our hips, hands under our shoulders, okay? And what we want to do is, if you can, just bring your knees off the floor a tiny bit, alright? From here, the opposite arm and leg are going to move at the same time. It'll feel a bit like climbing up a ladder. Once you get to the end, try and move back, okay? Small movements. We've got 30 meters to do. All right. Once we've done our bear crawls, well, actually, before we finish that, if you need to, you can bring your hands and legs up higher. That's a scaling option. Okay. So keep that in mind. Our next movement, we're going to be having our laying hip abductions, abduction. So we're going to be lying down. If you have the equipment like a band, this one will be for you. I'll show you what to do next if you don't. So I've got this band around my legs. What I'm going to do here is I want my hip at 0 or 180 degrees, so it's flat. From here, I'm going to be bringing my knees out, and I'm looking to feel it in my hips. Okay, so this is where I'm aiming to feel it. Just driving out against gravity. From here, if I don't have the bands or the equipment, then I'm going to be laying down, okay, and with my legs, I'm just going to lift one up against the other, and I'll still feel it down the side in my hip. These are still pretty decent, so don't underestimate them. Okay, if you want, you can add a band to this even, but make sure that it's doable. It'll be quite hard then. So after we've done that, we then go to our adduction. Okay, so we're going to have one leg up on the bench, the other one can either rest just slightly on the floor, or you can even have it off. From here, I'm going to be pushing this leg down into the bench, and you're looking to feel it on the inside of your leg. If this is too much on your knee joint, bend your knee or bring more of your knee on the platform. Do the same thing, so pushing up, and you can hold here for the prescribed time. Okay, so I'm driving this knee down into the bench, and over time you're going to start to feel a burn on the inside of your leg. Perfect, that's where we're looking for. Okay, next up we have our single leg balance. Okay, there are a few scaling options to this. Ultimately, we want to work towards the hardest one. So if you need to, you can start by just balancing on one leg. And we're going to look for the spot under your big toe, under your pinky, and then heel, like a tripod, those 3 points. So we're going to push them actively into the ground, pinky, heel and big toe. From there, you can either tap in front, tap behind, tap in front. We call this walking without walking. To make it harder, you can lift the knee off, okay, and you've got to balance on that leg. If you get to the point where you've done a fair bit and you're feeling confident, this is what we want to build up to, okay? So same 3 points into the ground. We're going to lean forward, okay? I'm squeezing this glute, I'm driving this heel up, and what I do with my hands makes it harder or easier from there. So behind makes it a little bit easier, or out to the side. If I bring my hands up overhead, it makes it a bit harder, okay? If we want to increase from here, what we can do is bring our arms out to the side, and we rotate to try and stabilize our body. And this is the hardest version of the single leg balance, as you can see, okay? Don't worry about your leg or your hips turning down and up for that one. They're supposed to, okay? So that's our single leg balance. Our next movement, our second last, we're going to be doing a scissor kick hold. So we'll be on the ground. This is for our hip flexors. Okay, the bottom leg's going to be off, the top leg's going to be off. Just come up as far as you can. Okay, we're not doing baby shark. We're just bringing up as far as we can and holding. The bottom leg's off the ground too. After a couple seconds, swap over, hold, swap over, hold, and we're going to get all the reps done that have been prescribed. Okay, our last movement of our warm-up is going to be our roll-up. Actually, I'll show you the scaling option. We're going to start down here, so you want the webbing of your fingers to reach the top of your knee. That's as far as you need to go. So control back down, coming up, control back down, and it's similar to a crunch. It's almost like half sit up, half crunch. Okay. If you get really good at those and you have some equipment, then we're going to grab a stability ball out and we're going to increase the range. So obviously, as I was laying there, my body couldn't go through the floor to open up my abs more, but now they can. So I'm going to get my feet in a stable position. I don't want to feel like so far back that I'm falling off. I just want to be enough on the ball. My hips are slightly towards the front of the ball. From here, you can either roll up and I kick my legs and hips back into the ball. As you can see, my knees will shift towards me. Okay, you can do the roll up, you can make it harder, and you can have your hands where your head is. So I'm kicking back into the ball, and I get to about 45 degrees. I don't want to come all the way up. So 45 degrees, control back down, open my abs, squeezing up, 45 degrees, control down, and each time I'm kicking off my feet back into the ground. Okay, if you're too far over the ball or back, you'll start slipping, so you'll know. Okay, to make it harder, if you really want to, you can raise your hands as well above your head. The further the resistance is that way, the harder it gets. Okay, and that's our warm-up.